You know Jarvis, right? Iron Man's assistant?
Jarvis, you there?
At your service, sir.
Tony Stark talks, and then Jarvis figures it out. Pulls up the data, runs the numbers, preps the plan. No typing, no coding, just a conversation. And see, most of us watched that movie and thought, dang, that's cool. That's the future. That's science fiction. And here's what you need to know. That's not science fiction anymore. That's actually today. And you don't need to be Tony Stark to use it. Today, I'm going to tell you how an orthodontist in South Dakota is building his own custom software using just his voice. I'm going to tell you about a regular guy who was not a scientist, not a doctor. He used AI to create a vaccine for his dog's cancer. And also a person who just in a couple days had a simple idea, built a tool that now 500,000 people are using it. None of these people are tech experts. They're just curious. And they stopped asking, can I do this? And they instead started asking, what could I build? And that's all what this video is about. All right, so let's start here. Everyone is now technical. That's the point I want you to take home today. Yes, including you. I know what you're thinking, John. I'm not a tech person. I don't know computer science. I don't write code. I wouldn't even know where to start. And I hear you. Because guess what? I'm not a technical person either, but something has changed. AI has basically removed the barrier between having an idea and actually building it. So you can now talk to AI the same way you would talk to a person, plain English. If you can speak English, you can describe what you want, you can go back and forth, you can tinker, and it will build. That's it. Period. So the question isn't, can I do this? The question becomes, what do I want to build? And I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove to you what I mean with 4 real stories. Story number 1, it's actually my brother, the orthodontist. So my brother Paul owns an orthodontic practice up in Brookings, South Dakota. He actually bought it from my dad, who started it in the 80s. So Paul, he studied biology. He went to dental school. He is not a tech person, but Paul is a problem solver. He started using AI, specifically Claude Code, to build custom software tools for his own practice. Now think about that. It's like software for a person of one person software, not built for every dentist or every orthodontist in the country, built specifically for his small Midwest practice, his team, his workflow. Tools that connect the systems he already uses, tools that fit exactly the way his team works. And because of that, he's able to hand things off to his staff faster. His team is now more efficient. His business is more profitable. He went from using AI to, simply kind of write social media captions like many of us started, to now building his own apps without ever writing a single line of code. Those are little baby steps, but he kept on taking them. Story number 2. There are 500,000 people that are using a Bible bot. Now, my other brother, who lives up in Fargo, he has an AI company called Chip. And I asked him, what are some of the ways people are using your tool? And he said, one of our users, just a regular person who had an idea, he built a bot that lets you have a conversation with the Bible, index the entire Bible, and now you can ask it questions. You can explore stories more deeply. You can ask and understand the context of that chapter or verse. You can literally interact with this ancient text in a completely new way. Guess what? That bot, that Bible bot, has now been used by over 500,000 people. 500,000 people built by one person, one idea. No massive tech team, no big budget, just someone who said, I wonder if I could do this. And then they did. Story number 3, that personal Jarvis, people are doing that every single day. I'm seeing more and more CEOs and founders building their own personal assistant. So I'm not talking about setting a timer or asking for the weather is like you would ask Siri. I'm talking about real personalized daily briefing. You wake up in the morning, your AI knows your schedule. It pulls the LinkedIn profile of everybody you're meeting with today. It'll give you a briefing of the strategy and goals, checking on your scorecard. It's flagged everything you need to know before your first call. I even heard one guy who took that briefing and then it sends it to his printer to print it out every day, almost like a daily newspaper, because he wanted to grab it physically and read his daily briefing. So it's done all the prep that you used to take you or your assistant 30 minutes and just done it each morning automatically. And see, here's how I think about this as an entrepreneur. We're not trying to replace people. What you're actually trying to do, you're trying to free your team up to do the higher value work, the stuff that a human can uniquely do, creative work, taste work, strategic work, that high touch, high value stuff. And you let your AI handle the prep. Let your team handle the relationships. See, that's a powerful shift. And I think every CEO and founder, if they don't already, is going to have their own AI assistant. Story number 4, this one is crazy. The dog and the vaccine. Okay, this one really stopped me in my tracks. I read this story about a guy who learned that his dog has cancer. The vet and the doc said, I'm sorry, there's not much more that we can do. And most people would accept that and sadly, wait out the time. This guy said no. He used AI to research, to problem solve, and he basically created an open sourced vaccine to help shrink the cancer and reduce his dog's pain. He talked about this on Twitter. The thing went viral. He's not a scientist. He's not a doctor. He's not a pharmacist. He just refused to take no for an answer. And in a matter of days, he built something that is actually extending his dog's life. Now think about that. The old version of this story simply ends at the vet's office. The new version says, let me figure this out. I think that story is such a great example of what is possible with AI. So think about this as a reframe. See, most people ask the wrong questions. They ask, could I do this? Can I do this? And that question will stop you every time. Because if you've never done it before, you're going to say the answer is no. How could I do that? I don't know how to do that. I'm not qualified. But the better question is, what would make this possible? What problem could I solve? What would actually help my team? What would make my life easier? Or what's been bugging me for years that I've just accepted is the way things are? See, start there. Start with the problem and not the tool or the solution, but how can you solve a good problem? So here's what I want you to take away from these 4 stories. First, stop asking if you can and start asking, what could you make? See, the limit isn't your skill level anymore. The limit is your imagination. How big can you think? How high can you dream? Because that's your opportunity. Secondly, get curious. Ask yourself, what's the best use of my time? Where is my bottleneck? What's slowing me down today? What would I build if I knew I couldn't fail? Let those questions lead you somewhere. Really, I think the AI age is for those who are curious and those who want to tinker, which is number 3, become a tinkerer. You got to get your hands dirty. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to use the right tool on day 1, but you have to start. See, my brother didn't just go from 0 to building custom software, right? He started using AI for social media posts, and he used it to build a calendar, and on to the next thing, and then on to the next thing. See, repetition builds confidence. You get familiar with the tools, you get confident tools, and then those at-bats will build your skills. So you don't need to be technical, but you need to be curious, and you need to be a tinkerer. All right, so here's my challenge to you. This week, right here, when you're watching this video, pick one problem, one challenge, one thing you're curious about, one thing in your work or your life that you feel like slows you down, that frustrates you, or maybe it just takes too long. And then ask AI, how might you solve it? Don't overthink this. Just start with the conversation. Really think through the outcome. Tell AI where you want to end and the outcome when you get there, and then you can work backwards on the what and the how. So you might be surprised what's possible when you stop asking, could I? And you start figuring out, how do I? And so if this video helped maybe shift your thinking even a little bit, I encourage you to follow for more. I put out videos every week about building, leading, and making momentum in both business and life, and I'll see you in the next one.